Do you ever wonder what you should do when you are failing a class? Like, do you get nervous or, do you get scared? Like, do you feel anxiety literally kicking your butt? Does it make you feel like life itself could be over? Well, I'm here to tell you that first off, life is not over and that one, everything is going to be okay. I'm here to tell you this that everything is perfectly fine. That's a perfectly fine feeling to be having. And literally, that almost everyone that is either failing a class or have failed a test or preparing for a test has felt that feeling. Um, I remember I had a similar feeling myself during my senior year, and it was concerning my senior thesis. During my senior thesis, I actually had to perform it in front of my class. And, to me, I thought I did a pretty well job, comparing myself to, others that was in my class and so forth. And I remember I had a meeting with my professor. He actually, asked me to come to his office. And I remember when I came to his office, I'm thinking he's going to tell me some good news. Keep in mind, it's my senior thesis. I actually have to pass my senior thesis in order for me to, at this point, graduate from college, walk across the stage. So this was a very, very important thing that I had, put a lot of work into and prep for. And so on my way to his office, I'm thinking, okay, he's probably going to tell me I did really great. I probably had one of the best performances in the class and so forth. So I was excited going in, but I was really disappointed leaving out of that meeting. The reasoning for that is because he actually told me that he was actually kind of disappointed in me and that he was not at all thrilled about my performance. And for the life of me, I could not understand that in that moment because I honestly felt that I had one of the best in the class as far as performance wise. And at the time, I couldn't get it in my mind to understand that maybe he was holding me to maybe a higher standard. Maybe things did not sound the way I thought it sounded coming out. Um, Whatever it was, it really bothered me. And I literally remembered leaving his office that day. And I went back to my room, my dorm room, and I literally sat in the room and I just cried. I just cried my eyes out literally, and I probably cried for at least a good hour or two. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was extremely hurt. Um, I felt defeated. I felt like I had the weight on the world on my shoulders at the time. I didn't tell any of my friends. I didn't tell really any family. I didn't really have much family support. Um, I did not tell my at the time I had a girlfriend. I did not tell her. I completely kept it to myself, and I felt defeated. I truly did. I felt really defeated. Um, After the emotion, getting the emotional piece out of the way, I had to really observe myself and just really make some decisions on not only my life but a lot of the decisions that I had made up to that point as well. One of the first things that I had to do was I had to question myself. I had to question myself, right? Like, why is it that I'm in this position? Like what really happened? Like what caused this? What actions did I do? What path did I take that was the wrong direction? I had to really question myself on a lot of things. And that's something that I would surmise to any of you who have felt that similar feeling or who is feeling that same feeling is, after this video, really take a few minutes and really ponder on that, really question yourself and probe yourself on why you're in the position that you're in currently. Why do you have that feeling that you're feeling? What caused that? Then I had to ask myself, am I the type to give up or am I the type to fight back? I would always tell anyone to be a fighter. I know sometimes in those moments, especially those emotional stages, we don't feel it in us a lot of times, but that's something that you have to really ask yourself. Are you the type to give up or are you the type to really fight? Me personally, I'm a fighter. I'm a fighter. Even sometimes if I don't feel it in me, I always will try to fight to live to see another day. That's always been my motto. Fight to live to see another day sometimes. Um, Also something that helped me as well is that I had to have that mindset of understanding that whatever happened is what's gonna happen, right? But it's what we do in those moments, in those defining moments, that will um also help us understand ourselves sometimes. But I had to do something to where I felt like even though whatever happened is what's gonna happen, I wanted to go out swinging. I wanted to go out swinging. And I would say that something that you all should do as well. Go out swinging. Don't just give up. Regardless if you have to, rewrite a paper over or do some extra credit, bother your professor about, whatever it is that you can do to, either pass that class, get a better grade, maybe retake a test, whatever it is that you have to do. A lot of times when people see that genuine sincerity inside of you and they see that you actually care, a lot of people will honestly want to help you if they feel like you're trying to help yourself. But again, it's easier to start off this way throughout the year versus waiting to the end of the year and your teacher may not care because they're like, well, you haven't cared all year, so I don't really care. Even if that's the case, again, I would always say, again, go out swinging. Um, Something else that you may want to do, and this is something that I actually had to do for myself in some instances, when I was doing not so well in the class, is I moved my seat. Um, Not only did I move my seat, but I actually sat in the first row of the class, because that actually helped me stay focused. It helped me be more. It helped me participate more in that class. It helped me. Normally, especially for me, normally if I fail a class or I'm failing the class, it's because I feel like the class is a bit boring. Which in a lot of cases, that's for a lot of people as well. Sometimes it's just boring. Sometimes it's the way the professor teaches. Sometimes you just aren't interested, right? But move your seat to the front of the class so that you're able to actually participate in the class, meaning asking a lot more questions. When you don't understand something, ask the teacher, hey, can you repeat that? Hey, can you go back over that? Um, Sitting in the front of the class and asking a lot of questions, it definitely does help. And another reason why I say that and why this is key is because it actually helps you stand out a little bit more to your professor as well. A lot of times, especially when you're in college, you may have a class of 15, you may have a class of 30, you may have a class of 60, 100, 200. You have some classes that are extremely huge, right? Depending on what type of university and things that you may go to. But sitting in the front, getting there early enough to get a seat in the front, is something that will actually help you out in the long run. Um, One of the things I also have done in the past, is getting a tutor immediately. If you don't know, if you don't really know any tutors on university, sometimes they do have tutors and they have students that sign up to be tutors and things like that. Go get a tutor, or become close friends with someone that's in your class who is doing a really great job in that class. Maybe it's someone who's smart in that subject. Maybe it's someone who has better studying habits or whatever the case may be. But something that you really want to do is just be real courteous. And ask them, hey, do you mind if I study with you? Hey, I see that you normally do pretty well, and I don't want to seem like, I'm trying to, get over on you, but I would really appreciate it, if you would mind sharing some of your study habits with me, or if I could study with you, or maybe we could do an, assignment together and I could learn some things from you as well. I would really appreciate it. A lot of times when you're coming to someone from a genuine standpoint, again, they are more willing to help you, assist you with that, or, help you out as much as possible. I'll be honest with y'all. That was actually I actually met one of my ex-girlfriends at the time doing that. I remember I was taking a psychology class in college, and normally every single week my psychology professor, she would give us like a somewhat like a pop quiz, or like a some type of quiz or whatever every week, and it will be based on the things that we would do like in our assignments, and homework assignments, and classroom assignments, things that we would material that we would go over during the week and whatnot. And she would give us pop quizzes, and literally this particular pop quiz had came up, but she allowed us to take it home. She allowed us to do it from our rooms. We didn't have to do it in the actual class. We could use our books, which was very, it was very convenient as well. But I remember I was sitting in the classroom. She was giving us back a pop quiz, and not only myself, but it was a few people in the class who had actually failed the quiz or scored very low. And I remember looking over, it was this girl sitting next to me, and I looked at her, it was like her little form that she had with her grade on it, and I saw how well she did. Keep in mind, guys, I have never seen this girl in my life. I never ran into her. I never even laid eyes on her. And I remember looking at her grade, and I was so surprised. I was like, wow, because everyone in the classroom was complaining about how they weren't doing so well. And when I saw her paper and I saw her grade, and I was like, wow, she must be smart. And so I remember before we got out of class, I stopped her and I asked her, hey, if you mind, we could study together. I saw that you did pretty well. And, I ended up, walking her back to her dorm room, and, we ended up exchanging contact information, and, we ended up meeting up the next day. She helped me out. And from that day forward, we worked together, and, um, I ended up passing that psychology class and doing well on my quizzes and tests and things like that. So again, it does pay off to have someone that can, help you out with those things. Um, the last thing that I would say always is always stay focused. Um, once you finally do get out of that deep hole that you're in, and trust me, one day you will. But once you finally get out of that hole that you're in, promise yourself to never return back to it. A lot of times, uh, the the best things to do is to learn from your mistakes. The wise thing is to do is to learn from others' mistakes. The worst thing you can do is go through a lesson and don't take anything back from it. Don't learn anything from it. Continue to make the same mistake over and over and over again, which, as you all know, speaking of psychology, that's actually called insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So that's going to come with, again, staying focused, changing some habits around, maybe even hanging out with different people, getting maybe a different inner circle, or even if you don't get a different inner circle, meet some people that's outside of your circle, that are good at the things that you aren't too good at yourself. And that's going to help set you apart as far as being able to tangle with other different groups of people as well. Last thing that I will leave you all with is understand that there's always a light at the end of every tunnel. All right. Have a great day.